In a world where January is supposed to be boring, one staple of the holidays refuses to end. The great deals at Verizon. The joy just keeps on coming. Right now, you can save on 4 new phones and 4 lines. Critics agree it's the deal that keeps on giving. Come into Verizon and save on 4 new phones and 4 lines on unlimited welcome. Additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
Stripy Brett on top, non-negotiable.
Eavesdroppin.
Ah, Michelle.
Georgette.
How are you?
I'm very good.
Michelle Angela.
Michelle Angela, what?
I've just decided that's your middle name.
Michelle, I hate that name.
I thought you would.
Why would you want
Sorry
to
to
call
all the
me?
Angelas out there. I just had a feeling it might rub you up the wrong way.
Do you know what? It's because I knew an Angela at school.
Was she a bitch?
Yeah, she was a friend of me.
What did she do?
And she called herself Annie. She stole boyfriends.
Oh, that's not on. That's not very girl-friendly.
No, it's really not.
Against the girl code.
And that's the thing. Once you know someone with a name who's not very nice, you're just anti that name. I am anyway. I can't speak for everyone, but that's just me.
How are you?
I'm great. Great. How are you?
I'm okay. I just bumped into my postie, actually. The lovely Dan, who everybody here at Eavesdroppin, if you're a long-time listener, will know. If you're not a long-time listener, by the way, hi, I'm Geordie.
And I'm Michelle. You are listening to Eavesdroppin, the comedy podcast, where you get to meet a vast array of characters like Dan the Hot Postie.
They'll be your friend too.
Yes.
Dan is a friend to many, I will say that.
Okay.
Did I tell you before Christmas, he moved in with his long-term lover, his girlfriend of many years. He used to proudly tell me, we've kept it going because we don't live together. And now they moved in together.
What's your prediction here? What are you saying without saying it?
I'm not predicting anything. I'm about to say. All I wondered was how it was going. I asked him, how's it going now you've moved in? He was a little reticent to say, but I think he said it wasn't as bad as he expected.
Oh, my God. Can I say, Dan?
Shout out, Dan. I said I'd give him a shout out. There you go, love.
We love you, but it does sound like maybe you've got some commitment issues here. And you're finding out it's actually not as bad as you thought. It's pretty good. You come home, you got someone to talk to. Maybe even there's a bit of dinner or takeaway on the table. You never know. Or you could do that for this lovely lady.
Well, he did explain. He did go on to elaborate. And it's because his girlfriend has a 25-year-old daughter who lives with her as well. So he's entered into the world of women, a lady's house, if you like. And he has to be on his best behaviour, he says. So I think he's finding that quite tricky to begin with. I said, doesn't make any difference to my husband. His best behaviour is long gone.
Scratching balls, farting.
I wouldn't like to say, but yes, some of that behaviour and more has been displayed by my other half. The other thing about Dan is he has to wear glasses now.
Oh.
And he's about to debut them next week. He's picking them up later in the week. They're a bit like the ones I'm wearing right now.
Oh, lovely.
An aviator style.
Yes.
He's a bit worried he's going to look like David Koresh or Jeffrey Dahmer were the 2 people he used as references. Both serial killers.
Fantastic. You are going to be Dan the serial killer postie.
Oh, no, don't say that. He's Dan the hot postie.
Absolutely lovely. He'll be even hotter now. He'll have that slightly intellectual look. I'm an intellectual postie.
I will send pics.
Watch out, Dan.
That reminds me of pics. Do you remember last week, Michelle, during the Brocard episode when I was telling you all about Brocard and her haunted clowns?
Yes.
Well, you pondered, if there was an eavesdropping doll, what might it look like?
I did ask that. What have you got for me?
I ran it through AI, and here's what it said. And there is an image. I will send it to you, and you can put it on the Patreon. It is terrifying. Of course it's terrifying. What were you expecting an eavesdropping doll to look like? But here's what AI thinks, right? The overall vibe should be a bit 90s, a bit British seaside charity shop. Oh, that depresses me straight away. A bit French cigarette break.
What?
I don't know where that comes from. A bit, inverted commas, don't tell my kids I said that. Comforting, but mischievous. I'm not sure AI's got the actual measure of eavesdropping just yet.
Not yet.
Maybe I didn't put the right indicators in. Face and hair. It should have a soft final face and knowing eyes. Sorry.
This sounds like a sex doll already. Jesus Christ. Eavesdroppin sex doll, not a freaking clown. What is going on here?
Knowing eyes. It says slightly raised eyebrow energy.
What, one eyebrow? Just the one?
One slightly raised. I'm sorry. I should have read through this. I would have been more professional reading it out. I thought it'd be more fun for us to discover this together.
Yes, okay. So knowing
the
eyes.
The problem is, though, I have seen it.
Knowing eyes with one eyebrow raised.
Slightly raised eyebrow energy.
Vinyl face.
A soft vinyl face. A half smirk. Like she's just overheard something outrageous but accurate. They really don't know Eavesdroppin if they think we're accurate.
No, don't come here for facts.
Hair is a messy but deliberate bob or cropped pixie. 2 haircuts we don't like.
Oh, my God. And it's reminding me of Ronald McDonald.
Chucky.
Somehow.
Oh.
I don't know. Ronald McDonald in
I've got Chucky
in the
in
80s.
mind. It says it should be dark blonde or mousy brown, slightly grown out, definitely not done. Subtle under eye lines because life.
Oh, my God.
What the fuck, man?
Out.
Are they
outrageous?
Is AI, he, they, them, are they modelling it on me, do you think? The messy hair, the under eye lines?
Outrageous. I don't like you, AI. AI, you suck.
Fuck you, AI. Outfit. Stripy Brett on top, non-negotiable. Why does it say that?
Non-negotiable.
What the fuck?
Have they been looking at the videos where I'm always in a fucking stripy top?
Are we? There's more, and I'm a bit embarrassed now because, like I said, I haven't read it before, but this is kind of what I'm wearing now. Slouchy navy cardigan or oversized blazer. That is my wardrobe. It's been going through my vintage search history. Black skinny jeans or vintage Levi's.
Oh, okay.
Ankle boots or battered Converse. Hang on a second.
What the hell?
It's a doll, not us. Optional scarf that looks like it's been everywhere. Excuse me?
Is this the Eavesdroppin
doll?
Psychotic killer clown doll?
Yes. Well, it's not a clown. It's just the doll.
It's just... Hang on. So this is like Kiss, but without the makeup.
Exactly.
No.
And then it goes on to say everything looks lived in, not styled. The opposite of influencer plastic. Is that a good thing? I don't know. I think I'd like to look styled. As an ex-stylist, I think I should look styled. Gosh. Accessories. Tiny detachable microphone or headphones. A mini tote bag that says something like, I shouldn't be telling you this, or overheard, repeated. They think that's our catchphrases. Well, you're wrong, AI. It's pick up your panties and go.
Exactly. Jesus, get it right, AI.
Or a folded bit of paper in a pocket labelled, notes I'll regret reading out. Oh. Of course, we never regret anything that we read out, Michelle.
Absolutely not. Not even when we get in trouble and trolled.
Oh, God. Here we go. Pull string phrases. This is key. Do you remember those pull string dolls? They were fun, but a little creepy.
I actually think that...
Mama.
Oh.
Mama.
Mammy. Mama. I think that is absolutely fucking hilarious. I would love an Eavesdroppin pull string doll.
Well, this one should say, I wasn't meant to hear this, but absolutely no judgment. But this is not my story to tell. Why are people like this? And unhinged laughter. What the fuck, Michelle? Oh, only if we had video. That would be amazing. I wish I'd recorded you doing that. Occasionally, she sighs deeply before speaking. They have been listening to the podcast because you do that. Sometimes you go...
Do I?
And I cut that out. Yes. I cut out the heavy breathing.
Well, am I the only one that's a heavy breather?
Sometimes I do a slight sigh before saying something, but often you, for added gravitas, you'll go, and Geordie...
Oh! And do you cut that out?
I have.
Oh, my God.
Well, people don't want your breathing, Michelle, in their ears.
Maybe they do.
Ask us. Write in.
Yes, please write in. Do you want Michelle's having breathing? Put 1 for yes, 2 for no.
All right, texture and finish. There should be a texture and finish to this doll, apparently, according to AI. It says slightly soft, slightly worn, like a toy that's been loved.
Or chewed.
Not glossy, not perfect. Feels like something you'd keep by your bed or desk For moral support. I hope that people do use our podcast for moral support, actually.
Are they suggesting they use the doll like a stress ball? You're just squeezing us
Maybe.
the whole time and then pulling
Or just pull the hairs out.
Pulling the...
pull the
Pull
string.
the string.
I shouldn't really be telling you this, but...
Yes, or
What a wanker.
wherever you are, whatever you do.
Just keep eavesdropping.
Oh, my God.
Not laughing at, but with.
I think some of the stuff is genius. Pull out string doll, whatever. Amazing.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't thought about those in years.
Maybe we put it into production. Wait till you see the picture.
Yes, but the rest of it, I feel, is just like 90s cliche.
It's trying to please us.
Yes, and I'm not pleased.
It's not. I'm not finished.
Oh!
The energy is, she's your mate, not a mascot. She knows things. She's comforting and dangerous.
Oh, I like that.
I like that.
Dangerous.
She will not grass you up unless it's funny.
What a bitch. Okay.
I know. It also suggested that we create 2 dolls, you and Michelle, as a set. So I think it does think that we're doing dolls of ourselves. So that's even more frightening when you see the picture, Michelle.
Oh my God.
We could do a limited edition haunted eavesdropping doll. It says, honestly, very on brand.
Do you know what? If there is anyone out there who actually would want this doll, write in.
Want a doll?
We could maybe go to Temu or China. What is it? What's that
Yes,
big?
Alibaba.
See if we can get a limited edition.
Alibaba.
I mean, I don't know how much that would cost. Probably too much for what people
We don't
are prepared
care.
to
We'll
pay.
do anything. We've got money in the bank, in the Patreon bank.
20 cents in the bank. We can do it.
We'll do it for you.
Oh my God, well done. That was fucking hilarious and terrifying.
Yeah, I have got pictures.
As predicted.
Yeah. It'll be over on the Patreon.
They're going to go straight on the Patreon.
Also, there is an episode up now on Patreon for the month of January. It is a magazine episode. We didn't know it was going to be like that.
No.
But it ended up being like that. And I think maybe that's the way that all our eavesdropping, extra dropping episodes should be, Michelle. Bit chitty chatty, bit loosey goosey.
That's fucking us to a T.
So if you want more of that and you haven't signed up, go over, sign up, buy us a coffee for the price of less than, what did you say last week, Michelle? The price of less than a chewing gum, packet of chewing gum.
Did I say pack of chewy?
Yep, pack of chewy. You can have us in your ears extra every month, plus all the links, plus all the TV recommendations. What are you watching right now?
Just Traitors.
Traitors?
That's it, Traitors UK. I've not had time for anything else. What have you got for me? What else should I be watching?
Fallout. I suggested it last time, the first series. I think it's really good because it's visually fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, husband and I are a little bit confused about what's going on right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a wreck?
It's based on a game. It's a wreck.
All right.
100% a wreck. It's got this wonderful actress called Ella Purnell, who's British, but she's been in a lot of American things. She was the one that died, no spoilers, in... What's that one about all the girls, that sports team that went on an
Yellow
island,
Jackets.
crash land? Yellow Jackets, thank you. And Walton Goggins, who was in White Lotus, the last series.
Yes, who I've read conflicting reports about what he's really like in real life.
Is he troublesome or is he okay?
Don't know.
Jury's out.
Jury's
Jury's out.
We don't know him. I don't want to speculate.
We don't want to do a Russell Brand.
No, we do not. Okay, but they sound good. I'll pop those over on the Patreon. Just wanted to say, I think in a previous episode I had mentioned that...
Something wrong? Did something wrong? Said something wrong?
No, that's you.
No, that's both of us, babes. Let's get real.
Let's get real. Real talk. Know that our wonderful eavesdropper, Jane Beacon, who has written a bloody book, a good one at that, called Poison Paradise, well, it is on Audible.
Yes, it is.
So
that's good. Is she reading it out in a northern accent?
Oh, God, wouldn't that be incredible? I would love to hear that. I haven't listened. I'm going to check it out. Jen is very excited.
We all are.
Like I said, hand down the toilet,
What?
cleaning, listening to Jane's book. Perfect way to clean away a few hours. Listening to Poisoned Paradise. So there it is. It is on Audible.
Can't wait. Hey, I've got some recommendations for social media. You know I do a bit of that.
Oh, yes.
And I've got something in from Charlene, Happy Chappy.
Yes.
The AI Crow debate rolls on.
Okay.
Well, first of all, she says, I've just watched the £1 million shaman scam on iPlayer. It's absolutely unbelievable. There's another recommendation.
Oh, great.
It's about a woman who claimed to be a shaman who scammed multiple people in Hampstead. And then she says, what's going on there? Because there's been a few scams going on in Hampstead, isn't there?
It's all yummy mummies with too much money.
And then she goes on to say, I asked AI, bloody AI, if the Russian crow video was AI.
And?
It said it had difficulty generating. She was certain it was real after looking at the body parts and everything. The short answer says it appears to be real footage, not AI generated.
But I think the footage could be real, but they may have overlaid an AI Russian.
No.
That's also possible.
I'm not taking that, Michelle.
Oh!
Corvids can speak.
Yes, I think they can speak.
They can. And they can speak Russian if you speak Russian to them.
All right, let's leave it at that.
I don't know why you're not willing to accept it.
All right. Let's just say we've got a Russian-speaking Corvid.
We're going to say that. It's been said. It's out there.
Said it.
But going back to social media, I've got a brand new fave account. I look forward to him coming out every Friday and every other thing that he does too. But it's New Music Friday with Owen Cutts and Mr. Cutts Chop Shop he does as well. Or Old Music Fridays, which is today. So I've just seen him talking about Jimi Hendrix Crosstown Traffic. So he'll play a song and he'll break it down and he'll get excited and he'll dance like no one's watching. And I absolutely love it.
Oh, that is wonderful. Okay.
So go over and follow him, Owen Cutts. He doesn't need our help, but I did say I'd give him a shout out. And if you do follow and like, mention us. Mention Eavesdropper sent me. Eavesdroppin'.
Yes. Say, Eavesdroppin brought us here.
One interesting fact that he brought up about Jimi Hendrix Crosstown Traffic, which is a banging tune, by the way, was that, you know, that doodle-doodle-doo-doo, that beginning of it. That's made, I thought it was guitar, that he'd fucked with his guitar somehow. That's made with a handmade kazoo. That's wrong. How do you do a kazoo? Which end are you supposed to blow into? The pointy end.
I think you meant to just
something's
just
broken.
I think you just blow. Just try blowing.
I think No, you don't blow. You sing into a kazoo. You sing into
I think your golden kazoo might have
it's bust.
Yeah, I think it's broken.
Somebody's been fucking with my kazoo. I can see the little bit of wax paper is broken. I'm annoyed.
Bloody hell. That's what happens when you leave golden kazoos out. People are tempted.
Don't touch my kazoo.
You got the vibes. You got the vibes. Do you know what? Speaking of, old rockers and things, I was going through some old photos I had on my phone and in Facebook looking for a particular picture of a friend of mine and I, because it was his birthday. I came across pictures of me, selfies with Gene Simmons.
Oh!
I'm going to put that on the Patreon.
What the hell? Did you remember that you'd ever met him? You've never said it.
I thought in my mind, I have bloody met that guy. I remember seeing his burnt, frazzled hair. And you know what? I was going to say Quincy Jones, but it's not. It's who's the bass player? The amazing black guy who's like a songwriter.
Yes,
like
I know who you mean. It is Nile Rodgers.
I lost his name.
Nile Rodgers.
Nile Rodgers. Me and Nile Rodgers as well.
Oh.
So I'm going to pop me and two famous people. I've had loads of pics with loads of other famous people. They're the only two I can find.
Okay.
So I was very happy when I found those. So funny you should talk about music and Jimi Hendrix, because both those things are kind of relevant to what I'm talking about today.
Wow.
This week, I was going to write about Tara Brown. It's actually a guy, because it was suggested to us by none other than our gorgeous white witch, Safka.
Yeah.
She had asked for an eavesdropping app on how Tara Brown, who was the heir to the Guinness fortune,
right,
and is referenced in a Beatles song. I'm actually going to sing it, because you might know the lyrics.
Can't wait. I'll join in if I can.
All right. It's a day in the life.
Brace yourself.
Day in the life.
Oh, you know what that is? Exactly what was in my head. I knew it.
And the lyric related to Tara Brown is, he blew his mind out in a car. He didn't notice that the lights had changed. A crowd of people stood and stared. They'd seen his face before. Nobody was really sure if he was from the House of Lords. Exactly.
I'd love to turn.
Beautiful song. Those lyrics were inspired by Tara Brown. Now, Safka, I was really starting in on that episode, but I've got to say I got derailed by Kiss Apocalypse, because he made a comment on the Patreon.
Oh.
About Linda McCartney in the say what you want. That video, because it's over on the Patreon. So now I'm really sorry, Safka. This story's now about Paul and Linda.
Oh.
It's not about Tara Brown. I'm going to come back to the Guinnesses another time because they are absolutely fascinating.
For sure.
But today...
It's real life with Macca.
Macca, the Maccas.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
He is.
I really like Paul McCartney, actually.
Me too. You saw him in a restaurant.
I saw him in a restaurant. He's my pal.
Yes.
I got him to sing happy birthday to one of my friends for her 19th birthday. How special is that?
Absolutely amazing.
And then they all got to talk to him afterwards. But of course, I was distracted and I was speaking to someone else because I can't help myself. But I was talking about him the other day. And I just want to say something before you start. With a musician about his ability to write amazing songs. And it's probably to do with the fact that he grew up playing music. Like that's what they did. The whole family around the piano and bashing out tunes, all kinds of tunes, blues, rock, pop, old, folk songs, old ditties, whatever. He immersed himself in music. And that's how he became such a brilliant songwriter and one who can span lots of genres and styles.
Yeah, I agree.
We won't say anything about that ridiculous Christmas song, though.
Which one?
Simply having...
I like that.
I hate that.
I like it. Whenever I
or the
hear
frog
it,
chorus.
It brings...
Let's give that one a wide berth too.
I don't know that one. What's that?
Let's say no more. Let's leave that there.
Okay. Well, I agree. I think times were different then. There wasn't really a lot on the telly and people were hanging out around.
Well, maybe there were no tellies.
No, probably when he was growing up. No, maybe not. Only the rich kids could have TVs.
Yeah. He's the same age as my parents.
Right.
And they didn't have tellies for a while. I think later on in the 60s.
That's probably true. This story today is more kind of looking at Paul and Linda and how they first got together and that whole kind of crazy scene.
That love story.
Paul and Linda, I unashamedly admit I have adored them since I was a kid because Jen had a big library of vinyl records. And when it came to Wings, we had loads of them. I think we had Band on the Run, we had Speed of Sound, we had London Town, but the one that I played endlessly, it was called Wings Greatest, and it had this statue of a woman, bronze statue, iconic cover, and I knew all the words to every song. So like I said, I'm going to dive into Paul and Linda, and as I was doing the research, and I will say this is the most shallow dive because there is so much out there about these two and I can only do so much. So I've pulled in bits from memory and things I've read, and while looking at sort of various articles, I found out, Geordie, there is a brand new documentary coming out next month called Man on the Run.
Man on the Run.
Exactly. And it's Paul talking all about his time with Linda and Wings.
Oh, how zeitgeisty, Michelle. You're on top of it, aren't you?
I know, without even realising. It's all down to bloody Kissy. I cannot wait to see it. I'm such a huge fan of the Beatles and music documentaries and Wings. So this is going to be an absolute joy to watch when it comes out.
Viewing party. Bring it on.
I know. So Safka, apologies, and Kissy, thank you for sparking the idea for this story.
Apologies from me, apologies to you.
Why do I always sound so Australian? I would say over the years I have read so much about Paul and Linda. Everything from they were the world's most perfect celebrity couple and their love was so deep that they never spent a night apart except when he was in jail in Japan for drugs charges.
Naughty, naughty.
But the other side of that is Paul being a total control freak, and that's why they never spent a night apart, because he couldn't bear not to have eyes on her. So obviously...
Oh my God, Paul.
I know. So I don't know the real story. I wish I'd known them. He's in his 80s,
Yeah.
Still going strong. You can't rely on anything. Everyone's got something to say about these two. So I'm just going to meander through this and see where we end up, starting with a few facts about Linda, who I love. So Linda McCartney, she was born Linda Eastman in Manhattan in New York, September 24, 1941. Her mother, Louise Sarah Eastman, was from a German Jewish family. Maternal grandfather was Max J. Lindner, who was the founder of the Lindner Company clothing store in Cleveland, Ohio. So I think it was more like a big department clothing store.
Yeah.
So there was money on her mother's side. Her dad, Lee Eastman, was actually born Leopold Vale Epstein.
Oh.
Yeah, he was a son of Belarusian Jewish immigrants.
Oh.
He anglicised his name from Epstein to Eastman. That's why they don't sound Jewish. And Lee Eastman was a very famous entertainment lawyer in New York. His client list included people like Tommy Dorsey, who was a big singer at the time, but also actual like painters. He had Willem de Kooning and Mark Rothko.
Wow.
As people he represented.
Why did I think that that her father, the Eastmans, were photography or film inventors and she was the heir to the Eastman, something to do with photography or film or camera production?
Because she made up a story that she was related to, I think it was the Lindner Kodaks. And that's where this whole myth came from. She kind of made herself sound like she was part of that because she's was a photographer.
Yeah.
Exactly. But going back to when she grew up and her dad, there was a guy called Jack Lawrence at the time. He wrote a song called Linda at her dad's request when she was 1 year old.
Oh.
It was recorded by Buddy Clark in 1947, went to number 2 on the Billboard charts. Recorded again in 1963 by Jan and Dean.
When you put into, I think you can go onto YouTube and put in any name and they will play a song for you. And it usually goes something like, Gretchen, Pooh, Gretchen, Pooh, Gretchen, 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 Pooh.
You can also put one in for Happy Birthday. And my sister does it with her kids. Isla, happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday. It's kind of amazing. I kind of love it. But this was a real thing. And Jan and Dean, who were that kind of California, I think, duo.
Yeah, the surfing guys.
Yeah, they did one. And I looked it up and it goes something like, la 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 Linda. It's so cheesy, but obviously it made money.
I'm just thinking, was Jan and Dean the people that did Two Girls for Every Boy?
Wasn't that
Beach Boys?
Sorry? Beach Boys. Yeah, I think it was Beach Boys.
No, was it?
Two Girls.
That's terrible, isn't it?
Jan and Dean, I think they were part of that ilk. Anyway, back to Linda. She loved animals, loved horses, loved photography, and that's why she ended up, being a photographer. She did fine arts at college, so she was always creative. Then on the 1st of March in 1962, her mum was killed when American Airlines Flight 1 crashed in Jamaica Bay in New York. She was absolutely devastated, and she ended up leaving the University of Arizona without graduating, and 3 months later, married a guy called Joseph Melville C. Jr. in 1962. They had their daughter, Heather, who was born in December, divorced in 1965.
Oh.
I think, she was quite fucked up by the death of her mother, as you would be. Then during that time, when she was sort of in that bad marriage, Linda became a receptionist and editorial assistant for Town and Country magazine. And in 1965, she started shagging this photographer called David Dalton, who kind of reignited her love for photography. And he was actually a serious photographer, but was also shooting bands. But he didn't like it. He said it was a pain in the ass because they're just all prima donnas. But he took her along to a few shoots, and he was amazed at how easily she just took control of the situation, and these prima donna musicians loved her and she could get the best out of them. So when Town and Country got an invitation to photograph the Rolling Stones during some record promo party on a yacht, Linda put her hand up for it, and it changed her life.
Wow.
Quote, I was the only photographer they allowed on the yacht. I just kept clicking away with the camera and they enjoyed it and I enjoyed it. And suddenly I found that taking pictures was a great way to live and a great way to work.
Nice one, Linda.
What I love is that she never bigs herself up. She's so modest in the way she speaks about herself and her opportunities. Anyway, a few months later, after that Rolling Stones shoot, she got an invitation to shoot backstage at Shea Stadium, where the Beatles played that massive, infamous US gig. But that's not where their love story started. That comes later. In the meantime, Linda was photographing people like Todd Rundgren, one of our faves, Aretha Franklin, Jimi Hendrix, which is the link to what we said earlier, Bob Dylan, Janis Joplin, Eric Clapton, Simon and Garfunkel, The Who, The Doors, The Animals, John Lennon, Neil Young. She was fucking good.
It's a who's who of that scene.
As Kiss Apocalypse commented on his email to hello@eavesdroppinpodcast.com.
Do write in.
She shot the cover for Jimi Hendrix's Electric Ladyland.
Huh.
It's the cover where they're all on, like, sitting on this giant mushroom, not the naked lady one. I think she was kind of amazing. And she also photographed Eric Clapton for Rolling Stone magazine, and she was the first woman to have a photograph on the cover. Before that, it was all men.
Okay.
That was in May 11.
Groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Go, Linda.
Go, Linda. May 11, 1968. Of course, when you're surrounded
There's
by...
that sign.
I know. Because I was thinking, how do I say this nicely? Look, she was photographing all of these fucking amazing musicians. So Linda wasn't what you would call a groupie. But of course, she did shag some of those famous, gorgeous guys.
She would have been in the right place at the right time.
I know. Apparently, Mick Jagger and Warren Beatty are among
No,
some of her
really?
conquests.
Oh,
Yes.
Linda.
I know. Ooh. And this is a quote. The way I define the word, I wasn't a groupie, she said. There were girls around who were classic groupies. They were very glamorous and often pretty fabulous, I thought. But I did hang out with groups. If that makes me a groupie, so be it. And this is what I mean. You know, she is not disrespectful about groupies. She's saying they're glamorous and gorgeous.
Class me how you want to class me.
Yeah. And actually, funny you should use that word. I think she's a really classy person.
Yeah.
So now we're going to cut to Paul McCartney.
All right.
So by 1968, obviously the Beatles were absolutely fucking massive all over the world, but they weren't happy. Things were going to shit in the band, and it was on the verge of implosion. And as for Paul, he might have been that little baby-faced one in the band, but he was a proper shagger.
Ooh.
Proper. Even though at that stage he was with the actress Jane Asher.
Yeah.
But like I said, total shagger. So Linda met Paul in a London nightclub called the Bag of Nails in Soho in
What a
1967.
name.
I know. Bag of Nails. Do it. Yeah, I can't do the good accents.
Bag of nails.
Oh my God.
I'll meet you down the bagger later on. All right,
Well, I was
Gov.
going to say, you sound like Bag of Chips from RuPaul. I'll put a link for those who are confused by that reference. Apparently, Linda was at the Bag of Nails with Eric Burdon and the Animals that night. And she was just there hanging with them. Paul had just come from a dinner party thrown by Brian Epstein to celebrate the end of the recording sessions for Sgt. Pepper's. And apparently, he just saw Linda and thought, I need to know who that woman is. In fact, decades later, he said, quote, I just saw her across the room and fancied her like mad.
Oh.
I know. So even though he's Paul McCartney and one of the biggest shaggers on the planet at that point, he didn't know how to approach her. So he saw that she was coming towards him. He pretended to stand up and accidentally bump into her as she walked past his table.
This is what we did to meet him.
Oh my God.
When he was getting out of his chair at the restaurant we were all at, I said, go, Pat, go, to my friend. She got up and blocked his exit.
Learning from the best.
Yeah.
This is what Paul did to meet
Paul must
Linda.
have known. Yeah.
So he was like, oh, sorry. Oh, hi. How you doing? We're going on to another club after this. Do you want to join us? Years later, he did admit that, you know, this was his big pulling line with her and that he'd never used anything like that before, but it worked. I really love that because it's so fucking wholesome. She did go out to this other club with him and... yeah, okay, they ended up shagging. And a couple of days later, at the Sgt. Pepper launch party, that's when she took her first pictures of the Beatles.
Oh.
And they are the pictures that are now iconic. I'll pop them on the Patreon.
Okay.
They were taken on the 19th of May in 1967. She's in a striped blazer, looking so young and beautiful. And clearly someone is taking pictures of her taking pictures of the Beatles and talking to Paul. And there's this one where he's sitting in a chair and smoking a cigarette and she's talking to him And you can just see they're falling in love. But
Oh.
it wasn't all love at first sight. You know, this kind of let's be happy forever, end of the story thing. Because there were two small snags to this whole scenario.
Well, she's got a baby.
No. First of all, Paul wasn't single.
He was with Jane Asher.
Jane Asher.
Right.
3 years earlier, when he was 22 in 1964, he'd moved into 57 Wimpole Street in Marylebone, London. I really am going to walk past that house next time I'm in Marylebone.
Yeah.
That was the home of his musician mate, Peter Asher, and it was the family home.
Right.
And that's where he met and fell in love with Peter's younger sister, the gorgeous Jane Asher, who was actually a bit of a muse to him. He wrote Yesterday in that house, and he wrote songs for her like And I Love Her, Here, There and Everywhere, For No One, and We Can Work It Out. And everyone thought, including Jane and her family, that this was it for the pair. You know, marriage, it was all happening. Despite the fact that she was this educated kind of blue-blooded girl from money and influence, and he was this scruffy lad from Liverpool. But he was a Beatle, and he could do whatever the fuck he wanted because he was rich and famous, but also smart and really talented. So things were good until they weren't. Quote, visits to Paul and Jane Asher were a bit uptight. There were constant little frictions. That's what happens when couples start to come apart. Jane was a serious actress and wanted to continue her career, but Paul had other ideas. He wanted an old-fashioned Liverpool wife who was devoted to her husband, said Marianne Faithfull in 2007. So on Christmas Day in 1967, Jane and Paul somehow announced that they were engaged.
Oh.
A couple of months later, they jetted off to Rishikesh in India to kind of dive into meditation, see what enlightenment was all about at the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's ashram. Then in June, Paul and John headed to New York together to get their record company, Apple Corps, off the ground in the US. And that's where Paul ran into Linda again for the first time in over a year.
But they'd already slept together that year before.
Just a little one, I think, a one-timer. A few days later, they went from New York to LA, and while in Los Angeles, Peggy Lipton, who was just 18 and
Married to Quincy Jones.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, she was a former girlfriend of Paul's.
She's Rashida Jones's mum.
Oh, gorgeous. Okay, didn't know that. Well, she was 18 at this point, former girlfriend of Paul's.
Oh.
Showed up at the Beverly Hills Hotel because she was absolutely convinced that he'd sent a message to her basically asking her to come.
Really?
So, yep, she went and knocked on the door of the Beverly Hills Hotel. And when Paul appeared at the door to the hotel room, he was strumming a guitar, singing a new song called Blackbird.
Ah.
And for a really happy moment, Peggy thought, oh my God, he's singing this song for me. Until she saw a woman stepping out of the bedroom, out into the hallway. Then Paul and the girl made a dash for the limousine, heads down, trying to hide. Peggy stormed into the bedroom, grabbed a tube of lipstick and scrawled across the mirror, "You made your choice." Then she broke down and cried.
Wow.
And of course the girl was Linda. Drama. So, a couple of weeks later, back in Britain, Jane Asher had been on some kind of film shoot, but came home unexpectedly early.
Uh-oh.
Actually, it was a theatre job in Bristol. She'd gone home to the house they were now living in St John's Wood in London. Walked straight into Paul in bed with yet another woman.
Oh.
Not Linda.
Fucking hell, Paul.
I know. I told you he's a proper shagger.
Jesus.
It was this New Yorker called Francie Schwartz. I looked her up. She was absolutely stunning. She's like this artist and writer. Anyway, this is a quote from Francie. "We had been asleep, brackets, at least he was, and she walked right in and knocked on the bedroom door. He whispered disdainfully, 'Who is it?' And she said, 'Jane.' He was out of bed in a minute, grabbing the midi coat that always hung on the back of the door. He looked like a gay flasher."
The midi coat?
Yeah.
Is she talking about like a shorty dressing gown?
I guess, yes. He looked like a gay flasher, she said. I could almost hear Jane breathing. I dove under the pillows until the soft talking sounds grew a bit louder. Then I peeked through the second door and saw them walking down the stairs, silent. Busted. So that was it for the pair. And Jane spoke on BBC One's early evening show, D Time, on July 20, 1968, where she told the world, I haven't broken it off, but it is broken off. Finished. So.
Naughty boy.
Naughty boy. But he did continue on for a little bit with Francie Schwartz. And this is a quote. In spite of Paul's long talk with his father about how he needed a different kind of girl, we were like a pair of unmatched shoes. He had wildly fluctuating moods, desperate curiosity. I was bewildered, working overtime at a job I couldn't even define. One consolation, Yoko Ono Lennon. She and John moved in with us while their story was still something to hide. As the two of us cooked breakfast for our respective men, she'd rap with a kind of new feminine wisdom about how hard it was to make them happy. She was fighting her own battle, staying sane amidst racist attacks from the Apple cock and cunt garden.
Wow.
She was also opening up her wealth of strength and determination to John. She sounds like a cool lady, I have to say. Eventually, Francie's out the door, and by September, Paul was on the phone to Linda, asking her, please come to London. So she left 5-year-old Heather with friends and flew over to be with him. While Paul was holed up in Abbey Road recording the White Album, Linda was wandering around the city with her camera, snapping pictures. And then at night, they'd go driving through London, just as they said, trying to get lost.
Yeah.
They were doing nothing in particular, but just getting to know each other. And that was kind of their thing. And I think what they were trying to do was anything that would let Paul step out of his kind of Beatle bubble and just be a normal person.
Yeah.
There's this thing that I read. One night from their bed in London, Linda called Heather in New York and then gave the phone to Paul. And he was teasing her saying, are you going to marry me? And Heather was like, no, you're too old. He's like, oh, yes, of course. I forgot that. Well, maybe I should marry your mummy instead. And by mid-October, Paul was taking Linda back to New York to her daughter. I think that's when she thought, I can introduce this guy to my daughter. And while they were in New York, they really made an effort to normalize him. He was riding the subway. He was going on buses. He ate in small restaurants and bars. He went to second-hand shops. There were no cameras, no crowds. It was just this very ordinary life. And I was thinking, how the fuck did no one recognize that he's a Beatle?
Yeah.
You know, that they were sitting on the A train next to like fucking Paul McCartney. Well, he'd stopped shaving. He basically wore clothes that made him look borderline homeless. Same with Linda. They were just not wearing fancy things and no one noticed them. And they lived really, really simply. They had a tiny flat in New York.
Yeah. She
had no money, I think, at this point. It was all kind of family money. They were sleeping on a pull-out bed that they had to fold away every morning. And when she was out on photo jobs, he was looking after Heather.
Wow.
So I think this dose of reality is just what he needed. And for him to become a real person again, not this rich rock star. And Linda was the reason. And I think that that's why what they had, the bond they had, was real and something very strong. Then Linda and Heather and Paul all made their way to Paul's half-derelict farmhouse in Kintyre in Scotland.
Oh.
And a month later, Linda discovered that she was pregnant. So they decided to get married, and their wedding, which was meant to be this kind of secret affair at Marylebone Register Office on the 12th of March in 1969, was not a secret at all. I mean, everyone knew about this secret wedding. And in the pictures, I love it, you see Linda wearing this belted kind of yellow trench coat, which looks great, but it was actually to hide her bump. Because no one knew that.
I've been to 2 weddings at Marylebone Registry Office. It's so beautiful in there.
Oh, how nice.
It's just off Baker Street. Stunning.
Because it was meant to be this small secret wedding, none of the Beatles were invited. And then a year later, the Beatles fell apart. And when that happened, the McCartneys went back to Kintyre, this time to actually live. mainly because all the Beatles' money was tied up with lawyers and tax evasion and all that kind of stuff. And so although he was a rich rock star on paper, in reality, I think he was asset rich and cash poor. Kintyre was all he had. So off they went. And it sounds really fucking amazing, but it was not this warm, cozy little cottage. It was this falling apart, freezing fucking stone thing. But they made the best of it at Kintyre. In Gaelic, apparently, that means Land's End.
Oh.
It had leaking tin roof, dripping taps, cold and mold everywhere, but still, they absolutely loved it. They grew food. They cooked simply. They had this really kind of frugal existence. And I think that's when leaning into being a vegetarian was crucial for Linda and now Paul, which, as we know, vegetarianism was really important to Linda because she loved animals. She was a passionate vegetarian. And of course, she went on to found that brand of, vegetarian frozen product.
Linda McCartney.
Yeah.
That was the ad.
I fucking loved her snacks. Yeah. I thought Linda McCartney sausages were great.
Sausage rolls, burgers.
She was really inspirational to me. But despite living the good life, Paul was depressed. Quote, once it was clear that we weren't doing the Beatles anymore, and he said this in 2022, he said, I got real withdrawals and I had serious problems. I thought, fuck it, I'm not even getting up. Don't set the alarm, don't do anything. I don't want to do anything. He said, I started drinking, I wasn't shaving, I just didn't care. As if I'd had a major tragedy in my life and was grieving. And I was. I sympathise, but let's be real here. He must have been a fucking nightmare for Linda because Linda had to drag Paul out of bed. She had to try to stop him from drinking himself to death and, smoking pot and chain smoking cigs. She had to get him out of that depression while looking after Mary, newborn baby, and Heather, all in this shit house that's falling apart and is fucking freezing, and they're growing their own food. So I think she's fucking amazing. And the kind of depressed that he was apparently angry, depressed.
Oh, no.
And this is a quote. Anger, deep, deep anger sets in with everything, with yourself, number one, and with everything in the world, number two. He said that about himself. And by all accounts, he was just awful, just kind of a zombie, wouldn't eat, couldn't sleep, just got high all the time, didn't give a shit that he had this gorgeous wife and newborn baby. He was just fucked. And I think Linda has said, I didn't even know who I was with. And this is a quote. We'd been married for just 7 months. What was I supposed to do with that? I think she was like, fuck me. So it was Linda who suggested, out of absolute desperation, that he start another band. And he was like, not doing it without you. So he said, you've got to learn how to play the keyboards.
And that's why Linda's in Wings.
Yep. He said he would literally only do it with her.
Aww.
No pressure. And so she did it for him, reluctantly.
Poor Linda, and all the flack that she caught after that.
Oh my God. She was fucking hated for doing Wings. People criticised her voice, said she couldn't play. And of course, she couldn't. But who fucking cares? They hated her clothes. They said she was bringing her husband down. And there was this horrible joke going around at the time, Geordie. It was, what do you call a dog with wings? Linda McCartney.
Oh.
Yeah. It's just fucking nasty. And she was almost as hated as Yoko Ono, but not quite.
Not quite.
On the flip side of this, without her, he was fucked. Linda helped him put together, the band. She helped him write the songs. She really was instrumental to what would become Wings. But it was not an easy ride for Linda or Paul because people hated those first albums.
Yeah.
They did not sell well at all. But Paul didn't care. He just wanted to have Linda with him and make music and go on the road. So in the early 70s, Paul did this bizarre thing. He bought this really beaten up shit old van. He shoved his kids and Linda in the van, along with the band and his sheepdog Martha, drove them on an unplanned tour of British universities. So he'd grab the map, he'd find a university, go up to the bar, say, do you want a gig tonight? People are like, this is fucking Paul McCartney. Yeah, okay.
That's Paul McCartney. Yeah, okay.
Sure, come and play. So for 50p, anyone could come and see you know,
oh my God.
Wings basically going through this rough set of covers and Wings songs. And he said, quote, "If we do it this way, the old-fashioned way from square one, there will come a day when we'll be at square 100. And he was right. So despite the fact that people fucking hated Linda in Wings, I think her vocals are so instrumental to the sound of that band. Her vocals bring this lightness and this air to the harmonies. And it's awful to look back and see how badly she was bullied for daring to be in a band with her husband.
Yeah.
And I just think, why the fuck shouldn't she? She's allowed to do whatever she wants. And if they want to be in a band together, who the fuck should care?
Yep.
But, of course, as we know, time would prove that Wings were amazing, not without hiccups. Paul chose to record the band's third album in Lagos, which was a fucking disaster. They got mugged, almost killed. The master tapes, some of them were stolen, but the album that Wings recorded there and the tapes that didn't get stolen became their most acclaimed and successful album, Band on the Run. So many great songs. Bluebird, so gorgeous. And her vocals in that are so lovely. Jet, Band on the Run, they're all so good. And by the middle of the 70s, Wings were huge all over the world.
Flying.
They were flying. Oh, well done. In fact, I didn't know this, but Wings had more US number ones than anyone except the Bee Gees.
No.
The Wings Over the World Stadium tour in 1975 to 76 was massive, and it made the band one of the top grossing live acts of the 70s. Fuck me, when I look back, they had a ton of absolute bangers, because it's really easy to forget how good all those songs were.
Yeah.
So we've got Band on the Run, Jet, Let 'Em In, Live and Let Die, Hi Hi Hi, Junior's Farm, Mull of Kintyre, Listen to What the Man Said, With a Little Luck, Maybe I'm Amazed, absolute personal favourite, Uncle Albert. I mean, I know the words to all of those songs, Geordie. I feel like all of those songs I grew up with, and they are so close to my heart. I put them on Spotify playlists all the time. And look, things were great with the band until around 1980, when Paul tried to take a massive bag of pot into Japan.
Yeah.
And his prison stint effectively killed off the Wings Over the World tour.
Oh, damn you, Paul, and your incessant smoking habit.
I know. To kind of wrap up a bit, during their 29-year marriage, she had 3 children and Heather. They had a really happy life, and I think they really were a very normal couple. You know, they always took the kids on the road. He really became a family man, and they were basically inseparable. Linda was a pioneer in vegetarian cooking. She released cookbooks. She had all of those like meat-free meals, and she was in the spotlight, you know, while she was in Wings, but she was equally happy to step out of the spotlight. And then you would see her pop up in videos like Say, Say, Say with Michael Jackson. She did over the years release a few songs here and there. And I really hate to say this about her, but for me, her solo songs, they weren't good.
Oh.
And actually, when she died in 98, she and Paul were in the process of putting together her first and only studio album.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not very good. I feel terrible.
Oh, no.
I feel really traitorous saying that. Linda was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1995, and it just got worse when the cancer metastasized to her liver. And Paul later said, quote, "The doctors had told me privately that we'd caught it too late and that she'd have about 18 months. And that's what she had. She was 56. That's where I'm going to leave it with Paul and Linda, because...
Right there, slap bang in the middle of tragedy.
Tragedy, because for me, it's absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I just think she is so much more influential than people give her credit for. When you hear stories with Stella McCartney, she often says she references her mum's look and hairstyles and loads of stuff for her collections.
Great style.
Really great style. I don't think she's ever really given full credit for that. I don't think she was ever acknowledged for how fucking hard it must have been to get up on stage as a ridiculed wife next to her Beatle husband, play instruments she didn't know how to play, and do it out of love for her husband to keep him sane. I think he would have gone insane without her. So, Linda, I think you're amazing.
We applaud you, Linda, and R.I.P. Never forgotten.
Never forgotten.
Gone too soon. They are gone too soon. Mary, I'm gone too soon. Especially when you walk down the freezer aisle and see all those burgers and sausages still with their name emblazoned. There's nothing like a Linda's sausage.
I know, and apparently Paul, when she died, vowed that he would keep that line going.
Oh, God love him.
And he still talks so affectionately and with so much love about her. And like I said, I am absolutely hanging to see this documentary that's coming out in a few weeks. It makes me actually want to go and rewatch all the documentaries again about these two because I just think they're wonderful.
Oh.
And I love Wings. So thank you, Kissy Apocalypse, for just making a comment that sparked this episode.
And thank you, Michelle, for deep diving, or shallow diving as you like to call it, into the romance that is Paul and Linda McCartney. I really enjoyed listening to that. Thank you.
Thanks. Right. Well, we got to wrap this banger up.
It's a banger, like a Linda's sausage.
The meat-free banger.
Well, okay, that's it then for this week. And if you enjoyed that, go on over to Patreon, have a look at the doll. It'll be there. And sign up. You'll have to sign up and buy us a coffee, like I said, or a packet of Chewy. And until then, we'll have to see you next time because there's only 3 things left to say, Michelle.
Wherever you are.
And whatever you do,
just keep
eavesdropping!
Eavesdropping. Eavesdropping.
Dropping.
Eavesdropping.
Dropping.
Eavesdropping. Eavesdropping.
Dropping, dropping.
Eavesdropping. Eavesdropping all day long. Eavesdropping, this is a song.
Drop it like it's hot.
In a world where January is supposed to be boring, one staple of the holidays refuses to end. The great deals at Verizon. The joy just keeps on coming. Right now, you can save on 4 new phones and 4 lines. Critics agree it's the deal that keeps on giving. Come into Verizon and save on 4 new phones and 4 lines on unlimited welcome. Additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.